Welcome back everybody to Reviewed. My name is Javier. A few weeks ago I got the LeBron 19 in the red colorway in hand. I love the silhouette, I love the fit and finish of the shoe, and it compelled me enough to make my very first YouTube video. Feedback was awesome. I saw some of my first subscribers and things like that, and it was just an incredible feeling, an incredible experience. If anyone wants to take a look at the hands-on review, the link is going to be right above. But in any case, let's just jump right into it. In terms of fit, the shoe fits pretty true to size. It depends on what your preference is, however. If you're gonna wear the shoe true to size, you're gonna have a little bit of room in the toe box. If you prefer a one-to-one fit or the snug fit where your foot just feels absolutely locked in, you're gonna wanna go probably down a half size. Me specifically, I like going true to size just to have a little bit of room. Now, coming from the Kobe's run a bit narrow, and I've had issues with Kobe's in the past, chafing and blisters on the knuckles of my toes. And that's not a really good feeling, especially when you're going 2 or 3 hours of basketball. It's just, at my age, it's not fun. Now keep in mind, for reference, I'm 6'4" and about 290 pounds, and I wear a size 12. I have pretty wide feet, so again, comfort is the #1 priority. Court feel is probably #2 on that list, but in general, it depends on what your preference is. Like I said, go down half a size if you're preferring that one-to-one fit. In terms of containment, the shoe keeps your foot in place pretty well. You have flywire that I actually didn't cover in the first video, but you have flywire both on the inside and outside of your foot. That keeps your foot pretty contained. What I did notice though, is that the flywire has a tendency to pinch your foot a little bit. So I had a couple hot spots or pinch points, whatever you want to call it, on the inside of my shoe. Around the shoe, I felt like I was gonna actually develop some blisters. Fortunately, I didn't, but it was one of those things that was pretty surprising because I've never really had an issue with LeBrons in the past. I generally specifically wear LeBrons because of the fit and the cushioning. In terms of traction, you have that embossed crown logo all over the outsole of the shoe. Now, they look like teeth, and with that being said, it's kind of like a cleat, so they really do grip the floor pretty well. Now, I didn't really get to play on any street courts, but I did play on indoor courts. Had no issues with traction whatsoever. Guards, again, guards generally won't gravitate toward a LeBron because of the cushioning setup and court feel. But for bigs, forwards, centers, whatever your position, anyone of that bigger stature, you're probably going to like the shoe. The traction, again, was pretty solid. Never really had an issue. And it was just, sticking to the court, all good. Cushioning on the LeBron 19 is a combination of the Zoom Air in the forefoot and you have Max Air in the heel. This is something I was extremely excited for, especially from seeing those production photos and pre-production models of the LeBron 19. Seeing that Zoom Air, that was the first thing I spotted, and for me, I love Zoom. And for anyone who plays basketball regularly or just, wears it casually, Zoom is probably the best cushioning on the market right now. In this particular iteration, it was a bit more muted. I didn't feel the Zoom as much as I liked. Generally, Zoom is a responsive, bouncy cushioning technology. It just wasn't there. Coming from the LeBron 18, where you have full-length Zoom and then you had Max Air in the heel, it just wasn't what I expected it to be. Again, it wasn't a deal breaker. It is something I noticed, and it's something I was a little bit disappointed with, but I hope to actually feel that responsiveness the more I play in the shoe. But for me, right now, it's not what I expected. Again, not a deal breaker, just something I noticed. Now, one question I had in terms of the comments from the hands-on video was the heel to toe transfer or transition. I would say that the shoe fits a bit stiff. It has that plastic shank plate on there in the arch of the foot. So maybe that's why they're a little bit more rigid or a little bit more stiff from the heel to toe transfer. Definitely not as stiff as LeBron 10. But definitely something you'll notice and hopefully will break in as you play in them more. Overall, cushioning is decent. Again, Zoom in the forefoot, Max Air in the heel. Again, it's not as bouncy as you expect it to be, but it is there. One thing I noticed, and a lot of people have noticed as well, is how heavy the LeBron 19 is. Upon pulling it out of the box for the first time, I noticed it immediately. So what I actually wanted to do was go through the shoes I have in my house right now. Some of mine are actually in storage, but going back to the LeBron 14, where they actively tried to make the shoe a lighter shoe, that came in at 17.2 ounces. The LeBron 15 came in at 20 ounces. The LeBron 16, 21.7 ounces. The LeBron 17 with an asterisk came in at 16.2 ounces. I don't have that shoe currently in hand, it's in storage. The LeBron 18 came in at 21.4 ounces. And finally, you have the LeBron 19, the heaviest of all of them, at 22.8 ounces. That's a crazy figure. I think when you look at the numbers, it just got heavier and heavier each generation. So they went away from making the shoe a lighter shoe with using lighter materials to making it a more technology heavy shoe. But much to the chagrin of people who prefer lighter shoes, it doesn't bother me either way, but it's something that you easily notice. And playing on the court, you may get fatigued quicker from playing in a heavier shoe. Now that's not something I noticed right off the bat, but it is something noticeable when you're pulling it out of the retail box for the very first time. As of today's recording, Nike finally announced the release of the LeBron 19 on the sneakers app. So you have two colorways that are going to initially hit. You get the Dutch blue colorway, originally debuted by Diana Taurasi, and then you have the Space Jam orange colorway that was debuted by LeBron on the production or set photos of Space Jam itself. The shoe will retail for $200, which is what I expected. Now the price tag wasn't included on the shoe I bought because it came directly from China. However, given the technology that they're including and the recent releases over the last few years, $200 seems to be the price point they're sticking with overall. In general, I would recommend buying this shoe. If you're a guard or a guard type of player, I don't think this is the shoe for you because, again, LeBrons generally aren't made for guards. They're not made for those quick cuts and those types of movements. The cushioning is always a bit more mushy, more than what guards prefer. Guards prefer that low profile feel, maybe like a Kobe. So for me, as a bigger person, 6'4", 290 pounds, it's an easy recommendation for anyone of my size or my stature. If you're someone, a smaller forward or whatever the case is, easily a recommendation just because of how good they fit. The cushioning does take a little bit to break in, but overall, it's a good looking shoe. If you're gonna just wear it casually, absolutely, highly recommend it. But overall, I don't think you'll be disappointed. That wraps it up for this video. If there's something I didn't cover or something that you want to know about the shoe, please leave a comment. I'd be more than happy to answer those questions. If you like the video, like it. If you don't like it, dislike it. And if you really like it though, hit that subscribe button. Until the next video, you guys have a good day.